Without a doubt, the lockdown is a strange time. You may find yourself with much more available time, but it's essential to remain focused at work to stay ahead. Maybe your role is more important than ever right now. You may want to use the opportunity to prove yourself. Maybe you simply want to take advantage of the time in the best possible way. There will inevitably be comparative winners and losers arising from the current situation. The rules of the game are evolving quickly for many. For some, the game has shifted entirely. Many organisations are affected as much as the individuals that support them. The outcomes and the time period of the lockdown are currently unknown. This is not something that any of us can control or even influence. However, we can control our own actions. In this video, I've got some tips to help you to stay ahead at work during the lockdown. I want you to be as prepared as you can for the next chapter when life resumes, whatever the new normal might look like. In this video, I cover 5 things to do right now if you're not already doing them. For each of the 5 points, I also add in an extra tip, so look out for those too. So let's get started. Tip number 1, know what's expected. It's one thing knowing what's expected at the best of times, and this isn't always crystal clear, but the rules change pretty much overnight. Ensure that you know what's expected of you in terms of the content of your role, as much as any home working policies that you're governed by. Make sure you have a clear list of responsibilities and objectives that are relevant right now. Check in with your manager and other team members to ensure that you are all aligned. Extra tip, try to be the one that's driving this discussion. As an aside, if what's being expected is not reasonable, make this known in a mature and diplomatic way, even if it may not be necessarily the right time for this to be addressed. Just maybe others are sat around twiddling their thumbs and would like to be more involved while you're working 24/7. Number 2, play the game. To a certain extent, fulfilling any role can be like playing a game or a role in a play. Once you've clarified expectations, ensure that you play along to the best of your abilities. This is not a game to be won, but rather you're playing your part in a bigger game. The cog in the machine, if you like. This is particularly relevant if your role interacts with other roles. Each cog in the machine really needs to do what's expected at this point to ensure the smooth running of different operations. This is more important now than ever. Extra tip. Aid the smooth running of everything around you by managing your stakeholders and the wider processes. If things are still moving and processes haven't yet been clearly defined and documented, then this could be an opportune moment for you. Tip number 3, communication is key. Assuming most people are now working remotely, communication is more important than ever. Whether it's organised calls, periodic check-ins or emails providing inputs and instructions, pay close attention to the messages and the signals you are communicating. Ensure your content is clear and succinct. Also, pay attention to the tone that you use. This communication is the principal way that you are currently showing up to others, so make sure it's positive and pleasant. Take extra time to review messages before you send them. Extra tip, plan how you might want to come across ahead of time. Make each communication count. Ask for feedback from trusted colleagues if you're brave. Tip number 4, check in with others. This is not about clocking in and out, but rather checking in with others to make sure they're okay. If you're normally a friendly person, then this should come naturally. If this comes less naturally, then find ways that sit okay with you. If you're the manager, this is actually an important part of your role right now. Ideas of how to do this include team meetings with an opportunity to check in with everyone, one-to-one calls with each team member, or just periodic chats and calls. This is human decency. Make sure you're remembered in a positive light. Extra tip, be tuned in to the different communication styles and preferences of the people that you interact with. Use your emotional intelligence, look out for clues in what people say, and listen and respond appropriately. Tip number 5, be mindful of mental health. These are trying times for most people. We've been thrown into this alien situation with little choice at virtually no notice. Many people may struggle at times. For some, it could be a total nightmare for a whole host of reasons. First and foremost, be kind to yourself. Put your own oxygen mask on first. Do whatever it is you need to do to make sure you're okay. Set boundaries in terms of working hours. Take regular breaks, get some exercise, or do something you enjoy. Also, look out for signs in others. Encourage colleagues and team members to look after themselves. Encourage them or give them opportunities to talk if this helps. Extra tip: accept that it's okay not to be okay sometimes. Be kind and open to yourself. Show compassion and empathy to others. And be prepared to accept and show a little vulnerability. The outcomes and the timing of the lockdown are currently unknown. This is not something that any of us can control or even influence. However, we can control our own actions. I want you to be as prepared as you can for your next chapter when life resumes, whatever the new normal might look like. In this video, I covered 5 things you can do now. I trust these make sense and that you can find ways to apply them if you're not already. Just as a reminder: 1. Know what's expected. 2. Play the game. 3. Communication is key. 4. Check in with others. And 5. Be mindful of mental health. In my following video, I'll cover 5 more things to ensure that you're looking up and looking forward in order to get ahead at work right now.